Thank you. And welcome. Isn't this an amazing day? We're going to get to meet Rick Riordan. My name is Vicki Titcombs, proudly independent bookstore owned by our family here in Sandwich. Along with our very, very good friends at the Sandwich Public Library and the Sandwich Public Schools, we are very excited to bring Rick Riordan, one of the most popular children's authors in the country today, to Cape Cod. It's very, very exciting to get to meet Rick. And it's just as exciting, quite honestly, to be surrounded by so many good readers and by the parents who care enough to bring them here today. We thank you all and wish you a very happy Mother's Day. So congratulations on the good job you're doing in raising good readers, parents, and grandparents and family members. In a moment, students from the Henry T. Wings School in Sandwich will introduce Mr. Riordan, who is going to talk about his books and answer some questions from the audience. After the talk, we'll have a book signing, and we're going to do things a little bit differently from our usual this time, and we're going to be calling you up by the color of your ticket. So keep that handy, and we'll give you instructions after the talk. But first of all, I should have asked this at the start. Are you all able to hear? Anybody can't hear me? We'll try. Okay. So please welcome the students of the Henry T. Wings School in Sandwich.
Good afternoon. I am Drew, and we are all very honored to be introducing Rick Riordan to... Dang it, I forgot how you pronounce his last name. Rick Riordan?
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
Perfect. It's so hard, but he's very kind about it. He doesn't mind if you make a mistake. But go ahead, Riordan, go ahead.
All right, to you all today. Rick Riordan has written 10 books for kids as well as 8 books for adults. His first series, and the one that many of us read first, is the Percy Jackson series. Today we are celebrating the second book in his Kane Chronicles series, a book called Throne of Fire. Rick Riordan has won many awards. Some are the Children's Choice Book Award for the Best Author, 2011 Kiddo Award for The Lost Hero, and the New York Times bestseller for Lightning Thief and Lost Hero. Oliver will now share with you a little bit about how Rick Riordan got started writing.
Rick Riordan was a teacher before he became a writer. As a teacher, each year he would teach his students about Greek myths, and as an activity would ask them to pretend they were a son or daughter of one of the Greek gods and write an adventure story about what would happen under those circumstances. So, one evening, when he was telling bedtime stories to his son and couldn't come up with a new tale, he decided to take one on for himself, the assignment he gave his students. It took him a few nights of bedtime stories to tell the story of the Percy Jackson and Zeus's lost master bolt, and when he was done, his son told him he should write the story down. So, he did. Now he's a full-time writer. We are glad he decided to become a full-time writer, but the kids in the school he used to teach are probably bummed he's no longer a teacher there. Now Zoe's going to talk about the different series.
Rick Riordan has written 3 different series for kids. Well, 4 if you count that he wrote 2 of the books in the 39 Clues series. The first one, Maze of Bones, which was the most important one to start the series, was awesome. His first series, as Drew and Oliver mentioned, is the Percy Jackson series, and the first book in the series is The Lightning Thief. That is probably his most famous book since it was made into a movie. It is probably his most important book also because it was the first one people read, and that is how they got hooked onto his books and discovered what a great writer he is. One of his newest series is the Kane Chronicles. The newest book just came out last Tuesday and is called The Throne of Fire. Many of us have already started reading it and love it. Next, Lila is going to talk about the mythology in each of the series that Mr. Riordan has written.
I'm Lila, and as Zoe said, I'm going to talk all about the mythology that is such an important part of Rick Riordan's work. In his Percy Jackson the Olympian series, he included not only Greek myths, but has included some tasks done by great Greek heroes such as Hercules and Perseus. In the book, The Lost Hero, the characters were in the same dangers as the hero Jason in Greek myths. In the Kane Chronicles, the characters Sadie and Carter encounter many ancient Egyptian animals. This unique way of writing has stood out to many readers.
There are many things that make Rick Riordan's books special. In my opinion, his books are very interesting, and they keep the reader turning the pages. He includes mythology, which gives him a whole bunch of characters and their adventures to include within his stories without him having to make up them. His kid characters, the Half-Bloods, feel like they are your best friends. He uses action and adventure, but he also includes humor.
I'm Jack, and I'm going to talk about what makes the Kane Chronicles stories different from the other two series. One difference is that the Lost Hero series has Greek and Roman mythology, and the Percy Jackson series has just Greek mythology. Percy Jackson is part of the Lost Hero series, and of course, the Percy Jackson series has Percy in it. But the Kane Chronicles series has Egyptian mythology instead of Greek and Roman, and no Percy. The main characters are Sadie and Carter, and the book is told from their point of view. Each chapter is from Sadie or Carter's point of view, in a pattern, Sadie, Carter, etc. So now I am enjoying learning about Egyptian gods now. Right now we have something special for Mr. Riordan.
When we heard that Rick Riordan had won the Children's Choice Award for Best Author, we were thinking about how we agreed with that choice.
And we were thinking that he should have a Sandwich Kids' Choice Award.
We don't know what the actual award is like that he got from the Children's Choice people.
But we wanted to make an award for him that is special to Sandwich.
So we would like to represent the first annual Sandwich Kids' Choice Award to Rick Riordan.
Boys, you want to explain what this is? Go up to the mic.
So since we made a annual Sandwich Kids' Choice Award, we have the Zeus's Master Lightning Bolt because Mr. Riordan is the mastermind of writing. Who cares?
Wow, that's quite an award. I love that.
Oh, there it is. Can you hear me?
That's kind of what I figured.
All right, we'll go with the handheld. Thank you so much. This is an amazing award. I think this is definitely one of my favorite. And bringing it out on a litter with hockey sticks, that's just so cool. I love that. We were talking backstage about where I was going on this tour, and it has been, I was trying to recall, over 25 years since I've been to Cape Cod, and obviously I wasn't writing Percy Jackson back then. That was on my honeymoon with my wife, and we were driving all around the place, and we went all the way up to Provincetown and did the whale watching and had wonderful memories of it, but I haven't been back since. So it's really wonderful to have a reason to come back and to meet you all and to talk about the book. So thank you for spending a part of your day with me. Thank you for the kids who made the amazing artwork. I think Cape Cod Academy did that. They did a fantastic job. And of course, a very special thank you to all the moms who came out on Mother's Day, of all days, to do an event with your kids. So thank you. You know, it's funny, every year the book comes out at about the same time, and it's always on Mother's Day, so I'm never at home for the last 6 years. I haven't been home for Mother's Day, so I called my mom, I did, so I did that right before I came over today, and I talked to my wife, and they're doing fine. But every time that I talk to moms at the events, I'm always amazed to see so many people coming out on Mother's Day. They all say, what better way to spend Mother's Day than to bring our kids out and talk about books and talk about reading. So very much appreciated. Now, the introduction did a great job, and you've already found out a lot about me. But just to give you sort of a sense of where I'm from, I was born and raised in Texas, and I was a middle school teacher for a long time. I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for 15 years. And after a while of teaching in Texas, my wife and I decided to move out to the San Francisco area just to do something different. We really liked it out there, but after a while, I started to get homesick, which is not something that I ever thought would happen. But I started to miss my home, and I started to think, my teachers always used to tell me to write about what I know, and back when I was a student, I hated it because everything I knew was boring, and I didn't want to write about that. But finally, after living away from Texas, it finally made sense. So I started writing adult mystery novels set in Texas while I was teaching. So I was writing, and I was teaching full-time. I did that for a number of years. When my students found out that I was writing murder mysteries, they said, "Mr. Riordan, can we read your books? Can we do a book report on Big Red Tequila?" And I would get this terrified look in my face, and I would say, "No, absolutely not. That's not appropriate. I mean, there's bad language, there's violence." Their eyes would light up. They'd say, "Really?" You can imagine what happened next. They all went out, bought copies of the book, started highlighting the bad words. It was very embarrassing. And they would always say, "Mr. Riordan, why don't you write something for kids? I mean, you're a teacher. Write something we can read." I didn't have any ideas, though. I didn't really know what to write for kids. Then, one year, my oldest son was having a terrible time in school. He was in 1st grade. He didn't like reading. He didn't like writing. He hated doing his homework. We didn't know exactly what was going on. Then we found out he's dyslexic, and he has ADHD, which explained a lot. I was trying to keep him interested in school. As a teacher myself, it was very, very difficult for me to have a kid who didn't like to read, and I didn't know what to do about that. I said, "Isn't there anything you're reading in school that you like?" He said, "Well, we are doing a unit on Greek mythology. That's kind of cool." And my eyes lit up, and I said, "Oh, I taught Greek mythology for years. Let me tell you some stories." So to keep him interested, I started telling him about Jason and the Argonauts and Hercules and all those cool stories. And eventually I ran out, and he got mad. He said, "Dad, tell me another one tonight." "Oh, there aren't any more. There haven't been any new ones in 2,000 years. He said, "Well, you're a writer, make one up." And I thought about that, and I thought, okay, all right, let's just pretend. What would it be like if the Greek gods were still around? Now, of course, no one believes in them anymore, but what if they were hanging out somewhere in the modern world? What if they still came down and fell in love with mortals sometimes and had kids that were half god, half human, like Hercules, a demigod, a half-blood? What would it be like if you, as a modern kid, found out that your real mom or your real dad was a Greek god? How would that change your life? So I started playing with that idea. Do you guys have a favorite Greek god or goddess if you had a parent? Who would you want? I'd like to hear some ideas. Yeah, over here in the blue. Yeah. Hephaestus, interesting choice, the god of fire and the guy of the blacksmiths. That'd be, you could make anything. And if you were like Leo in the Lost Hero, you could summon fire in your hand. That would be pretty cool. Yes. Apollo, very good. You could make up bad poetry right on the spot, and you could borrow the car from him and drive the sun across the sky. That'd be cool. Yes. Apollo as well. Awesome. Right here. Poseidon, god of the sea. He'd be a great surfer. That'd be awesome. You could breathe underwater and make toilets explode. Fantastic. On the aisle right there, yeah. Ares, the god of war. That'd be great until he got mad at you. And then I'm not sure he would just ground you. That could get ugly. Well, my favorite answer, I was at a school in Texas one time talking to the 8th graders, and I said, "All right, guys, what Greek god would you like as your mom or dad?" This girl raised her hand really excited. "Oh, Batman!" So, okay, good answer. Anyway, for my son, I made up this character, Percy Jackson, who lives in New York City, finds out his dad is the sun, he's the sea god, Poseidon, and he's Poseidon's son. He has to go on this quest to find a lightning bolt and bring it back. It took me about 3 nights to tell the whole story. When I was done, my son said, "Dad, you need to write that down. That was good." I said, "No, I don't have time. I mean, I'm teaching full time. I'm already writing a book a year." He said, "No, really, Dad, trust me. You need to write it down." I said, "Okay, fine." I wrote it down. I called it The Lightning Thief. I showed it to some of my 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. They all said, "Yeah, this is great. Get it published." I sent it off to get it published. Next thing you know, I'm a children's writer. I hadn't planned that. I figured I would do 5 books about Percy Jackson. I wanted him to start at age 12 and go to age 16 because of this big prophecy. I figured in 5 books I could get in just about everything from Greek mythology, and also 12 to 16, those are the ages I taught mostly, so I figured I could do that, and that wouldn't be a problem. Well, as I was writing the series, kids would come up to me, they would write me, they would email me, they would say, "Mr. Riordan, don't stop, keep going." But I didn't really want to do Percy Jackson forever, like Percy Jackson 6, Percy Jackson 27, Percy Jackson 35. Here comes the Minotaur again. I just thought that would get boring for me, and eventually it would get boring for you guys too. So I decided I'm going to do another series, because there's tons of other ideas, but I'm going to turn it on its head. I'm going to do a series called The Heroes of Olympus. You're going to see Percy, you're going to see all of his friends, but there's also a new cast of characters, 7 demigods who have to go on this quest. And I'm going to throw you a little curveball. I'm going to put the Roman stuff in there, and you're going to see what it's like to see the gods from the Roman side. It's been so much fun, and I'm happy to say that I just finished work on the 2nd book, The Son of Neptune. Man. My sons always read it first, okay, and they've read it, and they gave it the thumbs up. They said it's ready to go, it's good. Since they're ready, I'm sending it off to New York. My editor gave it the thumbs up, and it's ready to go. We're just getting it ready for publication, doing the copy editing and all of that, printing and all of that. It'll be out October 4th, which is actually a week earlier than we thought it was going to be. So I hope you guys enjoy that when it's coming out. Now, today, though, we're here for the other series, The Kane Chronicles, and the way that came about is from people like you, from the fans. You guys would tell me when I went to an event, "Would you ever do another kind of mythology?" And I thought about that, and the one that was the most popular in my class was ancient Egypt, with the pyramids, the hieroglyphs, the mummies. Ancient Egypt is just cool. But most people don't know about their gods. So I thought it'd be really cool to do a Percy Jackson sort of series, except with Egypt. And that's where the Kane Chronicles came from, with Carter and Sadie. The Red Pyramid, which just won the Children's Book Choice Award, was a really fun book to write about the magic and the gods. And today we're here for the 2nd book, The Throne of Fire. The Kane Chronicles will be a trilogy. The 3rd book will be out a year from now, and The Heroes of Olympus will be 5 books, like Percy Jackson. So that's what I'm up to. But my favorite part of meeting you guys is hearing your questions. So did any of you have questions that I haven't talked about yet? Anything that you're curious about knowing? Yes, right here in the front. Okay, but what was the least favorite thing that they changed for me from the book to the movie? Honestly, I didn't see the movie, so I can't comment. And the reason is, the movies, I love movies, but my feeling is if you have a book, you already have the best version of the story. So the images in your head are always going to be better than the ones that Hollywood shows you. And if you see the Hollywood version, often, I don't know how it is with you guys, but often that changes the way that I see the characters or the settings. And I never wanted that to happen with my own stuff. So I just decided, you know what? I want to keep Percy the way I see him and Camp Half-Blood the way I see it. I don't think I'm going to go see it. So I haven't. So I'm really not involved, and a lot of people say, are they going to make another movie? I don't know. I'll find out when you guys do. I have no idea. Other questions? Yes, ma'am, right here. Would I ever consider incorporating Norse gods? Yes, I would, and I love Norse mythology, and I have considered it. I would love to do a series on that. There's so many great mythologies. The thing is that between writing the Egyptian books and writing the Heroes of Olympus and doing a book every 6 months, which is, like light speed for me, that's like twice as fast as I normally write, still, by the time I'm done with those and ready to do something on the Norse or something else, you're talking 4 or 5 years from now. So it's going to be a while before I could get to that. But someday, if you guys keep reading, and I hope you will, someday I hope to do that series. In the white shirt in the middle, yes. Sorry, just the young lady there with the book. Go ahead. Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah. Do I visit the places that I write about in the books? Almost always. I've been to most of the places that are mentioned in the books. Some I make up. I'll give you an example. I have never been to Paris, but I wrote a scene set in Paris for the 39 Clues. I would have loved it if I could have gone to Paris, but I had to write the book in 3 months. It was like really, really fast, and Scholastic didn't volunteer to send me to Paris. I don't know why. So I just had to do all my research and read a bunch of travel books and try to get it as close as I could, and the editors helped me. But most of the places, yes, especially in the United States. Mostly, those are places I've been. Yes, Mr. Poseidon with the trident. Great outfit. How do I come up with the names for my characters? Most of them are simply names that I enjoy, names that I like. They don't have any particular meaning. Sometimes they're named after real people. Mrs. Dodds, the evil math teacher in The Lightning Thief, she's real. I taught with her. She's actually very nice in real life, but her name is Mrs. Dodds. She is the pre-algebra teacher at St. Mary's Hall, where I used to teach in San Antonio. And remember, I didn't think it was going to get published. I was just making stuff up for fun, to make my kid laugh. And so I was a little worried about it because I didn't change the name, and then I forgot about it. Then the book came out, and I had to go up to her and say, "Ooh, Mrs. Dodds, I have a confession to make. I turned you into a monster and killed you. Sorry." But all of her students are scared of her now, so she's cool with it. It's fine. Yeah. All right, right there in the gray, yes. Did Scholastic hire me to write the 39 Clues? The 39 Clues was interesting. Scholastic Books had an idea, but they didn't have a writer to write it. So they said, we want to do this thing about this family that goes on this scavenger hunt across the world. Would you write the series for us? But they wanted 10 books, and they wanted one every 3 months. And they said, well, I'm writing Percy Jackson. I can't write them all. But how about I get you started? So I wrote the first book for them, and I designed the ideas for the other 9 books, and then they had a team of authors come in and do the other ones. And they did a fabulous job. So that's as much as I was involved. But it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I didn't come up with the concept. Scholastic Books did that. Yes, toward the back on this side with the hand in the air. Go ahead. What about the third Cain book? What will the name of the third Cain Chronicles book be? I don't know. The title is the last thing that I do. I write the entire book, and then I go back and I think about it, and then I do the title. A lot of people ask me about the funny chapter titles. Same thing. I do them at the end. I go back and I look at the chapter, and I pick out the weirdest thing I can find. And that becomes the title. And if I can't find anything, I make the chapter weirder.
Rick?
All right, let's get...
Rick? Can I get some kids back here too? Thanks.
What's your favorite part of the writing process?
Favorite part of the writing process? Being done.
Yay.
Seriously, yeah. First drafts are our second favorite. Revision, that's way down there. But it's important. You got to do it. You have to revise. But that's the least favorite part.
Can you try another one?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you have a favorite branch of the Cahill family?
A favorite branch of the Cahill family. I really like them all. I think I was the Janus branch, if I remember correctly. But the Lutons are also very fun. I like them all.
I'm coming way up here.
Do you have any advice for a writer who's just starting?
Yeah, if you like to write, there are really only 3 things you need to do. Read a lot. Write a lot, because it's like a sport. You don't get better unless you practice it. And third, don't give up. My first book ever, Big Red Tequila, was rejected 13 times before it was finally published. And if I had given up after 5 or 10 times, I wouldn't be standing here today. So don't give up. Those 3 things will take you far. Do those and you're in good shape. All right, any more from the back with the mic? Go for it.
Will Percy be part narrating the Son of Neptune?
Percy will be in The Son of Neptune. He's a major character. If you have read The Lost Hero and seen how that book was structured, The Son of Neptune is structured in a similar way. But that's all I can tell you. In a couple of weeks, we will show you the cover for The Son of Neptune. On May 26th, it will be on my website. And shortly thereafter, we'll probably release the first sneak peek at the book. So stay tuned for that. My website is just my name, rickriordan.com. We have another from the back with the mic. Go ahead.
Yes. One moment. We'll get you.
Can I tell the godly parents of the other 4 involved in the prophecy? No. Sorry.
Which book is your favorite?
Which book is my favorite? Great question. It's a difficult question to answer, though, for any author. I was asked this the other night, and I said, it's like asking a parent, which is your favorite kid? Because, you like them all for different reasons. And the kid I was talking to, he rolled his eyes and said, oh, that's what all the authors say. But it's true, it's really hard for me to pick. In the Percy Jackson series, probably The Last Olympian, because I got to wrap everything up. I really loved The Throne of Fire. I think Son of Neptune might be right up there among my favorites, but that's not really fair because you guys haven't read it yet. So you'll have to tell me what you think when it comes out. All right, do we want to get a couple more from the, yeah, go for it up there.
When you wrote the 39 Clues, did you get to meet the other authors?
Did I get to meet the other authors in the 39 Clues? I have met them all in person, yes, except for Ms. Haddix. I haven't met her in person. We've talked, and we did an internet, a Skype visit together. But I haven't actually met her in person. But yes, I've talked to them all and corresponded and things like that. And let's get one more for now with our mic coming around.
What was your favorite Greek god?
My favorite god. In Egyptian mythology, I would have to go with Bes, the dwarf god. In the Throne of Fire, he's hysterical. His superpower is he's ugly. I love that. In Greek mythology, it wouldn't surprise you to learn my favorite gods are Poseidon and Athena. And in terms of characters, my favorite character in Percy Jackson is probably Tyson, the Cyclops, because just every time I write about him, I laugh. And I'll give you a sneak. You will see Tyson in The Son of Neptune, too. He comes back. And it's just, he's so cool. I just like having him back, along with a lot of other great ones. All right, well, if you didn't get to ask a question in the big group, don't despair, because as you come through the line, if you have a burning question you'd like to ask, please do. I would love to answer your questions individually. But I know that we have a lot of people here, and we want to make sure that everybody has time to come through and say hi and get your book signed. So I'm going to turn the mic back over, and we'll just do some housekeeping rules. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the signing line, and thank you again for spending part of your Mother's Day Sunday with me. Thanks.
And we'd just like to thank you very much, Rick. We have a little memento for you, a T-shirt from Sandwich, Massachusetts, for the Throne of Fire. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, we would like to thank Mr. Riordan's publisher, Disney Hyperion Press, for making this possible. But events like this are part of a community, and they are made possible by our community. We'd like to thank Stu Parsons and Kathy Johnson from the Sandwich Public Library. Yay! Thanks especially to the literacy teachers at the 3 Sandwich elementary schools, Maureen Wickland, Yvonne Hunt, and Colleen Claybald, for all they do every day, but for all they did today in organizing the student participation in this event. Thanks also to the students for all your hard work in the poetry and other artwork. We thank the 6th grade class of Cape Cod Academy for the beautiful hieroglyphics here on stage. They're gorgeous. Well done. And we thank you all for coming today.